Welcome back! This is part 2 of exploring the alternate branches created in Avengers Endgame. If you haven't seen part 1, the link is in the description below. Otherwise, let's get rolling. 2014. This is probably the most fun branch of the bunch created from Endgame. After Thanos discovered that the Avengers are looking to reverse the snap, he heads to the future to wipe out all life. 2014, Thanos, Gamora, and Nebula all travel to the future, along with present Nebula. 2014 Nebula is shot, and 2014 Thanos and his army are all wiped out by the snap. So what happens in a Thanos-less 2014 branch? Star-Lord would get captured by Rocket and Groot. It would likely happen quick enough that they'd retreat before the Nova Corps would show up. Star-Lord may be able to negotiate a deal with Rocket and Groot because he has the Power Stone, but Drax wouldn't be part of it because he'd still be in the kiln. Without Drax out of prison to taunt Ronan, there would be no way to track where the Power Stone orb is, so Ronan's story would be affected. Without Gamora to be tracked, Nebula to help him track, or Thanos motivating him with fear, Ronan would be left to his own devices. Unless he got a lucky break, there's no way to track down the orb, which means he wouldn't feel powerful enough to attack the Nova Corps. He would likely still do damage to the Kree population, but his power would be ultimately checked by larger armies. And on a larger scale, no threat of Thanos means there's no immediate threat to the universe. Would Thor still have visions about the Infinity Stones? Would Peter Quill ever meet Ego? More importantly, would there be someone else to pick up where Thanos left off? Maybe that someone would be Ronan. Ronan was aware of the Infinity Stones since he was working under Thanos, and he was actively going after the Power Stone. In the main MCU timeline, Ronan understands the power of the stones, and with Thanos disappearing, there'd be no one stopping Ronan from finishing off the collection of stones. If the Collector was gathering the Infinity Stones and Ronan found out, Ronan could have at least 2 stones in his collection, the Power Stone and the Reality Stone. Tenlir Tivan would be no match for Ronan, and then the quest for the stones and the danger would continue under a new name. 1949. One of the strongest debates around Endgame. How does Steve Rogers in 1949 make any sense with the rules of time travel that Endgame established? There are 2 schools of thought based on the different answers we received from the writers and directors. Writers Marcus and McFeely said they believed when present Cap traveled in 1949, he traveled to the main MCU timeline. So effectively, there would be 2 Captain Americas existing on Earth, the one still stuck in ice and the one that traveled back from the future. We are not experts on time travel, but the Ancient One specifically states that when you take an Infinity Stone out of a timeline, it creates a new timeline. So Steve going back and just being there would not create a new timeline. So I reject the Steve is on an alternate reality theory. With this explanation, in this timeline, future Steve would have to sit back and not interfere with any major events for the greater good of keeping the main timeline intact. Eventually, he'll find himself on a bench so he can pass the shield on to Sam Wilson. Wait a minute though. I thought we established in Endgame that this isn't possible. What we do in the past won't change our past. Hey, Smart Hulk! Can you repeat what you told the Avengers? If you go into the past becomes your future, and your former present becomes the past, which can't now be changed by your new future. Yeah, kinda complicated. So let's break it down with respect to the perspectives of time and you. If you go into times past, what you do in times past will be your future. The timeline's present will be in your past because it already happened to you. And your past, aka time's present, can't be changed because you already lived it. So whatever you do in times past won't matter because you're creating a present time that you haven't been a part of yet. Your future hasn't happened yet, meaning you can't rewrite the past. One Steve Rogers was born, and traveling back to the past won't change his past of only one Steve Rogers existing. Otherwise, we get a which came first, chicken or egg, grandfather complex, and a whole bunch of other problematic time travel scenarios. Does that make sense? If not, don't worry. I have another argument against what the writers said. Since the interview with the writers, Marvel has ventured further into time travel, specifically with both seasons of Loki. We know that what the writers said in this interview isn't the whole story. It's true that when an Infinity Stone is removed from a timeline, it creates a new branch. Loki has showed us that this is a Nexus event. Nexus events aren't limited to Infinity Stones though. Anytime something diverts from the path, the ideal timeline, It's pruned by the TVA. And because Nexus events cause branches, there is no way that Cap traveling to the past didn't create a branched timeline. Which brings us to our other leading theory about how Cap is existing in 1949. Directors Anthony and Joe Russo believe Cap ended up at an alternate timeline. The old Cap at the end of the movie, he lived his married life in a different universe from the main one. He had to make another jump back to the main universe at the end to give the shield to Sam. Originally, fans questioned how? How could Cap travel from an alternate reality back to the main timeline? Again, we get the answer in Loki. It is stated multiple times that the TVA exists outside of time, and it's hinted that it exists in the quantum realm, another place that time doesn't exist the same way that it does on Earth. The TVA was easily able to hop between different branches, and if it exists in the quantum realm, then that dimension's laws of physics are established. Going through the quantum realm should allow travelers to hop between different branches of time. That's how Cap would be able to travel between his new branched reality back to the main timeline with Sam. And there you have it, a breakdown of all the branches created in Avengers Endgame. Drop in the comments below if there is any branches that I missed or what you'd like to see in future videos. Thanks for watching.